This is a tutorial on how to make a ramen shop based on the concept art by Space Goose. If this is your first time working with Blender, I recommend looking for a different tutorial, since I won't be explaining any basics. Tap into Edit mode and scale the cube down on the Z-axis. Press Ctrl R to add loop cuts and select all the top faces. Then press I to insert them and pull them up. Add another cube and scale it to the right size. After that, extrude up the different parts of the building. Press 3 on the numpad to go into side view, enable wireframe mode, and move the top left corner of the building back on the y-axis. Now you can adjust the proportions of the building to your liking. Add a loop cut and delete these two edges. Fill in the top and bottom face, and then add 2 more loop cuts. Continue to fill out the faces and extrude out the inner part of the bar. Select one square on the top side of the building, copy it with Shift D and press P to separate it from the rest of the mesh. Scale the square down to the size of the window and move it to the correct place. Now extrude out and add a loop cut. Select the front faces, insert them, and extrude them in. Extrude the bottom part down to create a window ledge. Copy the window and scale them to your liking. Now Control-select the edges of the countertop and extrude them along the normals. You may notice they aren't exactly even. To fix that, scale them on the y-axis and hit 0. Same goes for the side faces, only you scale them on the x-axis. Shift right-click to put the cursor on the ground and add a cylinder. Tap into Edit mode and scale it down, and extrude out the shape of a bar stool. Now add an array modifier, set the count to 3, and adjust the offset so you have an even spread. Put the cursor on the ceiling and add another cube, and scale it to the size of a pillar. Now copy it to the other side. Then add yet another cube for the drapes. Scale it down, and add another array modifier. Set the count to 7 and adjust the offset. Tap out of Edit mode to apply the modifier, and then go back in to randomize the rotation. Add a cylinder and hit slash on numpad to isolate the view. Rotate the cylinder 90 degrees on the x-axis. Press numpad 1 to go into front view, enter wireframe mode and delete the bottom half of the cylinder. Select the bottom edge of the cylinder and extrude it out to the side. Now adjust the proportions so it looks like a roof tile. Scale it down to the correct size, and add a solidify, array, and bevel modifier. Adjust the settings of the modifiers like shown in the video. Now place the roof tiles on the slanted part of the building. If the origin of your object isn't in the center of your mesh, press right-click and set origin to geometry. Now just copy the roof tiles. Make one more copy and go into edit mode, where you delete the outer edge of the roof tiles. Now just rotate it 90 degrees on the z-axis and place it atop the other roof tiles. Then add another cube for the AC and electrical units. Scale it to the right size and bevel the edges. Now just duplicate it and place it around the building. For the clutter at the bottom of the building, we are going to add a sphere. Scale it down and delete the top part of it. Now edge select the top part of it and extrude it out on the z-axis. Copy it and place it around the bottom of the building. Go into edit mode of the pillars to add a bracket for the lantern. To do that, add a loop cut and pull it up. Extrude out the front face. Copy the other pillar to clutter the bottom some more. Modify the size of the cubes and add some crossbars to switch it up. Add 2 more cubes to the side of the building. Go into edit mode of the AC units and add 1 more to the very bottom of the build. Now add another UV sphere and delete the top half. Place it so it faces the front. And add a solidify modifier. Now extrude in the middle part. Press right-click on the object to set the shade to smooth. For the billboard, add another cube on the top of the building. Scale it to the right size. And add another square to make the support beams. Add a loop cut, bevel it, and extrude out the back face to move it down on the Z-axis. Copy the support beam to the other side. Add a text and go into edit mode to type out ramen. Scale it to the right size. And right-click on the object to change it to mesh. Go into edit mode to extrude it out. For the lantern, add another UV sphere. Click on the menu on the bottom left and change the rings to 12. Now go into edit mode and scale it down. Alt select every second ring. And scale them down. Now bevel the rings. Select the top circle of the lantern and extrude it out. Copy the bracket of the lantern and place it to the back side of the building. To clutter the top side of the building, copy some of the objects from the bottom side. For the antenna, add another cube and scale it to the size of a small beam. Copy that cube and rotate it. Now copy that cube again and place it above the other one. Add a plane and press numpad/ to isolate the view. Go into edit mode and inset the face. Press 1 to view the vertices and select 2 across each other. Go to vertex in the top menu and select connect vertex pairs. Repeat that for the other 2 vertices. Now go into edge select mode and select the inner 4 edges. Press Ctrl B to bevel them. Delete the inner triangular faces. Select everything and extrude it up. Now press numpad/ again and place the crossbeam to the back of the roof. For the cables around the building, we are going to add a curve. Go into edit mode, right-click, and change the handle type to poly. Go into side view and place the curve below the AC unit. Select the bottom vertex of the curve and extrude it down to the shape of a cable. Now go into the back view and adjust the orientation of the cable on the x-axis. If you need more vertices, select 2 of them, right-click and press Subdivide. When the shape is to your liking, go to the Curve menu and search for Geometry. Here you go to the Bevel tab and adjust the depth. Now copy it and move it to the side. For the cables at the bottom of the building, switch into pen mode and draw your desired shape. Now place and copy it around the building. There you can adjust the shape and size of the cables. For the rest of the cables, press N to open the side menu and change the depth to surface. Now your cables will cling to the surface of the building. Use this to place cables wherever you want. Now go back to fix any parts that clip through the walls. For the neon sign, we're going to add a circle and change the alignment to view. Scale it to the right size, isolate the view, and delete the top half. Now connect the top two vertices. Select the bottom three vertices, move them down and scale them up to create the foot of the ramen bowl. Copy two of the vertices and move them up to create the chopsticks. Now adjust the scale of the neon sign. Copy the two vertices 3 more times to create the noodles. Go into object mode and convert the mesh to curve. Now go into the curve menu and under geometry, bevel, change the depth. Also check the box with fill in the caps. To change the thickness of the individual vertices, press Alt S to scale them. For the swirl, use the pen tool again. For the ramen bowl on the countertop, we're going to add another sphere. Delete the top half and scale it down. For the noodles, we're going to use the same method as with the cables. Just go to the pen tool and scribble some random lines, and repeat that step a second time. Now flip them 180 degrees so they curve out. At this point I'm almost finished with modeling, but I thought the scene looked a bit empty, so I added a trash can and a car. If you want to, you can slow down the video and follow along for some extra points, or come up with your own decoration ideas. I would love to see what you can come up with. To give the wall some texture, I added a plane, aligned it to view and scaled it down. I went into edit mode and extruded out some random shapes. Then I added a subdivision modifier, changed the viewport levels to 2, and added some loop cuts to adjust the shape. Then I added a shrink wrap modifier and set the target to the house. This makes it so the ornament will always cling to the side of the building. To prevent clipping, change the offset to 0.001. Now copy it and place it around the building with some. Lastly, we're going to bevel all the objects with a bevel modifier. If the bevel should look uneven, you might have to press Ctrl A to apply the transformations of the scale. For the lighting and texturing, we're going to split the viewport into 3 parts. Set the bottom left one to Shader Editor and remove all the icons of the top left viewport. Now change the render engine to Cycles and go into Rendered View. Place the light to the side of the building, copy it, and place the other one behind it to give it some edge light. Now put the color of the edge light to magenta and adjust the position and power of it. Then change the color of the main light to a cyan. Add a plane beneath the building to create a backdrop. Extrude one edge out and bevel it to make it smooth. Now change the view of your main viewport to material. To add color to the objects, just add a new material and change the base color of the principled BSDF to your desired color. For the materials that emit light, just change the color of emission to something similar and up the emission strength. For objects that you want to have the multiple colors, go into edit mode and select the parts that should have the different color. Now go to the slot menu and press the plus sign. Then press assign to assign it to the selected parts. The square on the bottom part is going to be striped, so I'm adding a wave texture to it. Change the orientation to the y-axis and add a color ramp in between the wave texture and the shader. If you have the Node Wrangler add-on, just press Ctrl T to change the position of the stripes. Hit F12 to render and then go into the Compositing tab. Add a viewer node and the glare node to make the emissive textures shine. After that, you can add a contrast node to heighten the contrast. And now you're done. This was my first time doing a tutorial, and I would love to know if you like this kind of content. If any of you actually follow this tutorial, I would love to see your results. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye!